Right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, clearing a convicted killer. He's spent 27 years behind bars for a murder he says he didn't commit. Why the prosecutor is one step closer to freeing him.
Humidity levels start to increase heading toward the long Labor Day weekend. I'm tracking what that means for our rain chances.
But first tonight, a local 2-year-old playing with a gun ends up dead.
There's not much you can do, but pray.
Police say the toddler shot himself in the head.
Tonight, police are still piecing together the shooting that claimed that toddler's life. Good evening, I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Mike Bush. It happened this afternoon at the family's home on Melvin Drive in the Baden neighborhood in North St. Louis. Our Robert Townsend has followed the case all day. He joined us now live from police headquarters downtown.
Mike and Ann, tonight there are still lots of questions surrounding the toddler's tragic death. Meantime, another family is preparing to bury a child. That as police are pleading to gun owners. It's a heartbreaking scene that's been a painful reality for multiple St. Louis families. Loved ones suddenly gathering and grieving a little one after the child is shot.
We can only give them prayers.
Police say around 1 this afternoon, they got the 911 call. Officers went to a home in the 900 block of Melvin Avenue where they say a 2-year-old boy got his hands on a loaded handgun and shot himself in the head. Interim Police Chief Michael Sack says the child was barely conscious or breathing when officers arrived.
We're not really sure what happened or how the child accessed it.
2 city police officers rushed the toddler to a hospital where he died. A relative told 5 on Your Side the child lived at the home with his mom and was an only child. Elfirma Furlow lives down the street.
There's not much you can do, but pray and just ask God to bless the situation, give her peace.
This is a terrible tragedy that this family is going to be going through for quite some time.
Data compiled by 5 on Your Side shows so far this year, at least 5 children have been accidentally shot in St. Louis.
So I would just implore all parents or any guardian of a child who has a firearm in the home to please keep that in a safe area away from the child so the child can't get access to it, or better yet, use a gun lock.
Mayor Tashara Jones echoed that plea. In a statement, Jones also said, quote, "Losing a child is the biggest fear of any parent, and we must do everything we can to protect our babies."
It's awful.
I feel badly for them and for their friends. Certainly ask everybody to keep that child in their prayers.
And tonight, police still have not said who was inside that home when the child was shot. Live downtown, Robert Townsend, 5 on Your Side.
We have breaking news out of Midtown St. Louis. A St. Louis police officer was rushed to the hospital after being exposed to an unknown substance. This happened about 90 minutes ago at the Quick Trip on Vandeventer near Choteau. It's not known yet what the officer was exposed to or his condition at this hour. New developments tonight in a deadly hit-and-run crash that killed a teenager near Ted Drew's. Prosecutors have now charged 25-year-old Jacob Adler with leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death and then tampering with evidence. Both are felonies. According to court documents, surveillance video showed Adler getting out of his truck after last month's crash. He walked up to the accident scene, then left. Investigators say Adler tried to get his damaged truck fixed the next day. The victim, 17-year-old Matthew Nicolai, was hit while crossing Chippewa. The CBC high school student was trying to get to Ted Drew's.
New tonight, a major update in the fight to set a convicted murderer free. For nearly 3 decades, attorneys have argued Lamar Johnson was wrongfully convicted in the death of a 25-year-old man killed in a suspected drug dispute. As 5 on Your Side's Brent Solomon joins us to explain, St. Louis's prosecutor just filed a motion to overturn that conviction. Brent.
That's right, Ann. And now Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner has the legal ability to request that the conviction be reversed. That's because of a new state law that advocates fought to get on the books.
I've never seen the ocean, never been in a plane. So I haven't seen my grandchildren. I want to hug my mother.
That's Lamar Johnson speaking from behind bars last year, where he's serving a life sentence. Since then, new developments. Although a jury found him guilty in the death of 25-year-old Marcus Boyd back in 1994, his attorneys say the court got it wrong, specifically pointing to the confessions of two other men. One of them, Philip Campbell, who served time, and another man who has not been charged in this case, but is serving a life sentence in another case.
They have long said they committed this crime and that they know Lamar Johnson did not because they were there and he was not.
Years after the conviction, the state's only witness who identified Johnson as the shooter recanted his testimony. That's why a few years ago, Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner tried to get Johnson a new trial, but couldn't because Missouri law did not allow a prosecutor to do that. Last year, that all changed after advocates petitioned the Supreme Court. State law now gives prosecutors the right to attempt to overturn a conviction that they believe is wrongful. And that's what's now happening in Johnson's case.
When you know your client is innocent, there's no walking away from that. You do whatever you can do, including lose and lose and lose until you get heard. All Lamar Johnson needs is a hearing, and it looks like he's going to get one finally.
More important to me than anything is just being able to bond and be with my family again. So my mother can rest knowing that I didn't have to spend the rest of my life in prison for something I didn't do.
So what will happen from here? Johnson's attorney believes there will be a court hearing pretty soon. That's where the circuit attorney will plead her case on why he should be let out of prison, which would then be followed by a judge ruling on whether to set Johnson free.
Caught on camera, thieves using stolen Kias and Hyundais in smash and grab robberies at Academy Sports locations on both sides of the river. The O'Fallon, Illinois store was hit first. Police tell us a stolen Hyundai crashed into the store just before 4:30 this morning. The thieves headed straight for the gun case. The group also stole a Kia nearby. About an hour later, a stolen Hyundai crashed into the store in St. Peters. Security footage shows the thieves using guns to shoot out and break into the gun cases right here. Police are trying to figure out if these crimes are related. They say these break-ins are especially concerning because the criminals were after guns.
We've seen this going on over the last several weeks in the St. Louis area where vehicles are just smashing through the front doors and they're just being as quick as possible to get the items that they want, and then they're leaving. So these type of burglaries happen in less than 2 minutes.
Anyone with information about the crimes, please call police.
Tonight, police are searching for the vandals who broke into a medical marijuana dispensary in Hazelwood. This is the latest in a string of smash and grab attempts at local dispensaries. This one happened overnight at the Terabis dispensary on North Lindbergh. Hazelwood police say suspects broke the front window to get in. They left before the officers got there, and police believe the thieves got away empty-handed. Many are still dealing with the mess left behind weeks after historic floods hit. Tonight, leaders in East St. Louis and St. Clair County leaders held a town hall to address concerns.
Our Pepper Baker spoke with people who say they need help and they need it right now.
East St. Louis residents and flood victims filled almost every seat at this town hall, and they didn't hold back from demanding answers on how to get help almost a month after the flood.
I'm here at the meeting. I'm trying to see if they're going to help us or what.
Every day since the flood hit East St. Louis, Cynthia Renscher has been trying to recover everything she lost.
I did all the calling. I stood in all the lines to try to get help. And this is where I'm at today.
She and dozens of other East St. Louis flood victims showed up to Wednesday's town hall demanding answers from city leaders.
Why are we paying sewer bills and sewer treatment and we're still getting blockage? How is it that $22 million can go to one city impacted by the same flood, but you have no funds available, or say you have no funds available for East St. Louis?
Brian Whitaker with St. Clair County's Emergency Management Agency says they're waiting for FEMA to approve or deny the state's request for a federal disaster declaration following FEMA's recent door-to-door assessments.
Once we have that answer, we'll be coming back to the citizens throughout St. Clair County and letting you know what the next steps in the process are. It could be something along the lines of receiving individual assistance.
The Public Works Department addressed the pump infrastructure, saying it's outdated and would cost nearly $1 million to fix just one out of the 19 pumps in the city.
There's no amount of money that can pour in that will take care of that. It's hundreds of millions of dollars.
The engineer says it's going to take time to come up with a cost-effective plan to improve their pump system.
I'm tired of hearing what we're gonna do, what's in the making.
City leaders assured residents that they're doing everything they can to get aid. And while the process with FEMA is still pending, they urge flood victims to continue reporting their damage by calling 211. In East St. Louis, Pepper Baker, 5 on your side.
East St. Louis Finance Director Dwayne Stewart estimated that the flood cleanup and the rescues cost the city roughly $135,000 so far. Tomorrow, FEMA will open a 6th flooding disaster recovery center in the St. Louis area. It will be located at the O'Fallon, Missouri Municipal Center. Officials from FEMA and the Small Business Administration will be on hand daily from 8 until 7 to help victims of last month's historic flash flooding. There are also centers in Ferguson, Hazelwood, U-City, St. Louis City, and St. Charles. For more information, just text the word HELP to 314-425-5355. We'll send you a link with all of that information.
Missouri's special session to lower your state income tax is being delayed by a week. It will now start September 14th instead of the 6th. The governor is calling on lawmakers to cut the state's income tax during the special session. Senate and House leaders says this gives them more time to work on the specifics. The new date also coincides with the veto section.
Boosted boosters. A new COVID shot could arrive next week. Who's eligible for the updated formula? Lunch money. The government is no longer picking up the tab for every student.
But then there are a lot of families who never needed assistance before.
The local places offering help to families who are trying to make ends meet.
Another comfortable evening across the Bi-State region. Temperatures start to increase, and so does the humidity. What that means for your Labor Day weekend as you're making your outdoor plans.
An updated COVID vaccine could be rolled out as early as next week. Today, the Food and Drug Administration authorized an updated booster from Moderna and Pfizer. This one is designed to target the highly contagious Omicron subvariant. The U.S. has purchased 171 million doses in hopes of combating a late fall surge.
By giving the booster now, we will hopefully both control the current plateau that we're in, even though we're dropping off very slowly, as well as address this future potential wave that looms out there.
Here are 3 things to know about the new COVID boosters. The CDC still has to sign off on them. The Pfizer vaccine is approved for people ages 12 and up, and you must be at least 18 to receive the Moderna shot.
The school year now underway, and that means some renewed stress for families trying to afford basic food.
For the first time since the start of the pandemic, breakfast and lunches, they are no longer covered by the government. As Michelle Lee reports, there are new resources as well as renewed efforts to help people make ends meet.
Families can still receive free or reduced lunch if they qualify, but a lot of people make just too much money for those programs and yet are still struggling because of the economy and inflation.
The stress over buying school meals is very real this year.
I added it up and it was like $118 a month, and you do that times 9, it's over $1,000 a year. So to me, it was like, oh my gosh, because I also have to, buy groceries.
That's a lot of money for those already on the brink. Schools and families now scrambling to cover the costs.
Families who are, working families, some with 2 or 3 jobs, who are just having difficulty making ends meet.
Kristen Wild at Operation Food Search says there's been about a 33% increase in people using the charitable food system from urban to rural St. Louis, just as donations have decreased by 25%.
In some cases, it's someone down the street that you may have no idea that they're struggling to make sure their kids are fed.
Operation Food Search has had to get creative about stretching a dollar, and they want to make sure that you know how to as well.
I always like to stick with canned fruit and canned veggies.
That's no surprise, but think about double duty ingredients like tomatoes.
So this is cowboy caviar.
The most wanted items here: canned fruits, veggies, pasta, rice, and proteins, from beans to tuna and peanut butter.
They're fantastic, they're nutritious, budget friendly, and they can really last on your shelf for a very long time.
And knowing that there are other resources to supplement, whether that's the group's Fresh Produce Metro Market or finding a library location that passes out free meals or produce. Everyone here is being creative to make sure our families have the essentials.
But then there are a lot of families who never needed assistance before, who are finding it difficult to cover the basic needs. It's really heartbreaking.
There are still a lot of opportunities to get food and more. Text us the word food to 314-425-5355 and we'll send you more information. Back to you.
We've partnered with Operation Food Search and Neighbors Credit Union this high school football season to tackle hunger. This week's game is the Battle for Breeze with Mater Dei, and they're playing Breeze Central. Both schools will compete Friday night. They're also competing all week to collect the most food. The winner will be announced Friday night on 5 on Your Sideline. You can also participate and make a donation by going to ksdk.com/hunger.
We're just 4 days away now from the Show of Strength MDA Telethon. It's set for this Sunday, September 4th at Grants Farm. I'll be there along with Ann and Scott and Rennie Knott. So tune in Sunday night from 8 until 10 right here on 5 on Your Side. Or, if it's better for you, ksdk.com or on 5 Plus. Just download 5 Plus on your Roku or Fire TV. And all the money raised goes to people with neuromuscular diseases in the St. Louis area. Tomorrow, the U.S. Forest Service will close roughly 3 miles of road in southern Illinois. Forest Road 345 in the Shawnee National Forest is more widely known as Snake Road. Every fall, more than 20 species of snakes cross the gravel as they migrate towards the limestone caves to hibernate for the winter. Car traffic is closed until Halloween, but you can still get there by foot. But beware, some of these snakes are venomous.
The number one snake that you're going to see here is going to be the northern cottonmouth. The other two venomous snakes are copperhead and timber rattlesnake. And you have a good chance of seeing those.
We now know what Ann is going to do this weekend. Park officials say the area is safe as long as you stick to the road. They say the best time to see the snakes is in October.
I think if the boss had said, "Can you go do the story?" I would have said, "I quit."
That's what you would have said. Not really feeling up to it right now, right, Scott?
You're feeling a little faint that day, for sure. All right, well, we're not looking at, any active weather across the region for the next couple of days. That is a nice little break here. We've had a great evening. Temperatures dropping back into the mid-60s in some of the coolest spots. You look at it, Lambert, with much of the country having dry weather and quiet weather right now. Don't have any cancellations showing up on the arriving flights at Lambert. Just some delayed flights coming in. Generally clear skies across the region, down to 74 in town right now. But again, some of our cooler spots have already slid back into the mid-60s. And it's another morning where temperatures for the coolest spots will be down into the 50s. This morning, Lambert started at 63, went back to 85 for the high. Right now, calm wind. Dew point is 59, so we'll expect temperatures to slide back into the low and mid 60s around town. But again, some of our outlying areas in the coolest spots, mid to upper 50s. 7:33 was when the sun set tonight. Tomorrow it comes up about 6:35 or so, and we're talking about lots of sunshine tomorrow. Let's jump ahead. Tomorrow and Friday, it's really nice. Slowly increasing the heat. And as we get into the weekend, we slowly increase the humidity too. More so as we head into Sunday and on into Labor Day. So what that means is, yes, there will be a chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm, but the chances for most of us are extremely low. We get into Monday, there may be a little more of a focus as we head down over the Ozarks. If you're doing some traveling this weekend, maybe to any of the area lakes, Table Rock Lake, Lake of the Ozarks, over to Carlisle Lake, Wren Lake, Mark Twain Lake, the weather generally is looking pretty good. We can't rule out that for an hour during the afternoon hours on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, there might be a shower. But that would be about it. Nothing really overly dramatic. There's not a lot of wind with this. And yeah, tomorrow begins meteorological fall. Yeah, summer comes to an end tonight, at least in the meteorological community. So we look at your sunset tomorrow, 7:31. 13 hours, 31 minutes of daylight tomorrow. By October 1st, look at that. We're down to 11 hours and 47 minutes of daylight. Our sun setting at 6:44. By the middle of October, we've knocked off more than 2 hours of daylight. Dramatic changes are on the way with our shortening days as we head towards the autumnal equinox and for the 2 and 3 weeks after that. Temperatures this weekend, right around 90 degrees for the high. The humidity levels do creep up, and your storm chances, well, they're very low. So most of us are staying dry this weekend.
That sounds good. All right, Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Mike, what a game tonight, Cards and Reds. A Mizzou kid living out a dream
And one of the most distinguished umpires of all time came to our town today.
Chasing 700 is sponsored by CarShield.
Albert was 0 for 5, but had a moment. Baseball is so wonderful. It's like 10 o'clock on a Wednesday, and the Cardinals are playing one of the worst teams in the league, and it's compelling. That's why I ended my distinguished career as a busboy. I love sports. Let's go to Cincinnati. 4th inning, 2-0 Reds. Nolan Arenado golfs it out, 406 feet, number 28 on the season. We are tied. He already has 89 RBIs. 11th inning, real tension. 2-2 game. Andre Palante on the mound. 5 infielders. Tommy Edman throws wide. Yachty with a nice play there for the out. 13th inning. Albert delivers a sac fly. It scores Goldie. Lars Nootbaar added a 2-run homer. It is 5-2 in the 13th inning. This is the most important baseball story of the night. Jack Flaherty on the hill for his last rehab start in Springfield. Overall, it went well. He threw in the upper 90s. Flaherty went 6 2/3 innings, struck out 9, only walked 2. He did have 3 earned runs charged to him. His next start will be in St. Louis on Monday. Hall of Famer Tony Larussa has left the White Sox because of an unspecified medical condition. The 77-year-old left the team 1 hour before Tuesday's game. Former Cardinal Miguel Cairo will take over as the interim manager. We are 21 hours away from the start of the Mizzou football season as they host Louisiana Tech. Imagine the emotions of the guy behind me, Brady Cook. When he was offered a scholarship while at Chaminade, he cut off all the recruiting. You know why? Because playing quarterback at Mizzou was his childhood dream. And Cook will be the first St. Louisan to start game 1 at Mizzou since Blaine Gabbert in 2010. How about his emotions? It's like the Villa girl, Ann Allred, the former KSDK intern, walking on that set to anchor her first newscast. But 50,000 weren't cheering for Ann. In fact, Mike, Scott, and I were actually heckling her. Brady, your emotions, please.
You know, I'd say a week ago I was more nervous than I am right now, just because for me, the nerves kind of go away as I get more and more prepared for game day. And I think that'll continue on into Thursday. So, you know, the more I prepare, I won't be too worried about being nervous or anything like that.
Spike Lee and Tiger Woods at the U.S. Open. They were there to see Serena Williams in the second round. Remember, she's never lost in the second round at the Open. Near court, a hissing backhand winner against the number 2 player in the world, Anett Kontaveit. Serena wins in 3 sets and moves on to the third round. This is like Jimmy Connors' swan song at the Open in 1991. Finally tonight, I think there are 3 records that are unbreakable in baseball. 511 wins by Cy Young, 2,632 consecutive games by Cal Ripken Jr., and what about Joe West umpiring 5,460 Major League games? West came to St. Louis today to promote his popular podcast. What a career the man had. 10 league championship series, 6 World Series, 3 All-Star games. And you know what? He was hit by batted balls. He was hit by players and all those confrontations with managers and players, but he loved his career, almost every minute of it.
Well, it was a great run. I don't know if I could have enjoyed anything else as much as I did this. I had fun with all the people I worked with, and like I told you earlier, there's only been about 400 umpires in all of baseball, and I worked with over 150 of them. So I was very lucky, and I was lucky to be part of it.
He's a good man, and he married a wonderful St. Louis girl named Rita.
All right, Frank, thank you.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. The reason the Christmas creep is creeping even earlier this year.
Okay, we're still 4 months away from Christmas.
It's August still.
I know. Today is still August, but holiday trees and decorations are on display at Costco and Sam's Club. Walmart has even unwrapped its annual top toy list a month early. Analysts say inflation is driving the early Yuletide spirit.
Got to get the hot toy now. You know it won't be available in 30 days, right? Monday is Labor Day. The federal holiday traces back to the late 1800s when rival union leaders gathered to protest unfair labor practices. Many of you may be getting a long weekend. According to Wallet Hub, American workers on average took 11 vacation days in 2021 and left 4 PTO days on the table. And 23% of workers do not earn paid time off.
Dolly Parton hopes her latest project is a hit with your dog. Doggy Parton is a canine apparel line that includes clothing, squeaky toys, and even a blonde wig. The products are available on Amazon, and a portion of the proceeds will go to an animal rescue organization. Pumpkin spice in July, and now Christmas in August.
I think we skipped Halloween.
I think, yeah. There you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show's next.